Web pages are written in a code called HTML, which stands for Hypertext Markup Language. There have been a number of different versions of HTML over the years that have standardized the language more and more with each new version. The latest version is called XHTML, and this is what we will be learning. Let's take a look at what HTML looks like by viewing the code for the simple page shown here. You can view the source code for any web page, whether it's a page of your own creation saved to your computer, or someone else's site already posted online, such as Amazon or Google, by right-clicking on any of the blank space in the page, and selecting View Page Source or View Source depending on what browser you're using. HTML is made up of tags. Each tag starts with an opening caret and at the end has a closing caret. Some tags have attributes. For instance, this IMG tag refers to an image, and one of the attributes given to this image tag is width, which has a value of 300 pixels. Let's start creating our own web page. Dreamweaver is an Adobe software that's one of the industry standards for web design. However, it's also very expensive. All you really need to make your own web pages using HTML is a text editor, such as TextEdit on a Mac or Notepad in Windows. There are also numerous open source programs that can be downloaded for free that you can use for writing your HTML code. There are a number of advantages of using some of these programs over a simple text editor, one being that they will color code all your HTML for you, which makes all your codes and tags much easier to read and discern. We will be using a simple open source software called Aditra. There are versions of Aditra both for Macs and for Windows. To open Aditra, look for the red icon with the big blue E. If it's not in your docs, look for it in your Finder under your Student folder and My Apps. When you open the program, a blank document will appear. This software can be used to create many different kinds of code. To ensure the color scheme is set for HTML coding, go to the Settings menu, Lexars, and then check HTML. It's good practice to save your page before you even begin, so you can easily save it as you work and not be in danger of losing what you've already worked on. To save your page, go to the File menu and Save As. You'll want to create a folder to put all of your website files and pictures in. Give your page a name, and in the drop-down menu under Format, be sure to click HTML to give your page the appropriate file type, and then click the Save button. Now we are ready to start writing some code. The first tag we want to enter is the HTML tag. So type an opening caret, HTML, and a closing caret. With a couple of exceptions, whenever you have an opening tag, you always want a closing tag. The closing tag is the same thing, but with a slash in front of it. So at the very end of the page, we want to type an opening caret, slash, HTML, and the closing caret. This tag is telling us the language that the whole page is being written in. Next, we want to create two sections in our page. The first section is the head section, and this is where all the background info for the page goes. So nothing that's put in this section will actually appear when the page is viewed in a browser. The tag for this section is head, so type an opening caret, head, and a closing caret. Then go down on the next line and type the closing head tag, so an opening caret, slash, head, and the closing caret. Next we'll create the body section. The body is where all the contents of the page goes. So type the opening body tag, and then at the end of the page, just before we close the HTML tag, we want a closing body tag. One of the pieces of information that we have to have in the head section is a title. Because it's in the head section, this will not actually appear on the page, but instead this is what will show up in the title bar of your browser. So I will type in the tag, which is title, and then whatever name I want to give the page, then the closing title tag. I now have the page set up and can start adding content. Remember that all of the content goes between the opening body tag and the closing body tag. So I'm going to go into the body section and start a new paragraph by using the paragraph tag, which is simply a P. Then I'll type in some text and end my paragraph with the closing P tag. Anything that's not within a tag, so not between the carets, will show up as text when the page is viewed in a browser. To preview what I've done so far, I can press Command S on the keyboard to save my page, and then navigate to the folder where I'm storing my website on my computer, and double-click the web page to open it in a browser. As I work on the page in Aditra or my text editor, I can leave the page open in the browser in the background, and as I make changes to the page and save it, all I need to do is refresh or reload the page in the browser to view those changes. So far, I can see the title that I put in the header section in the title bar of the browser, and the paragraph of text that I entered into the body section. To create a new paragraph, I'll just type in another opening P tag, enter in my text, and then close the paragraph with the closing P tag. When viewed in the browser, you could see that it has placed the second paragraph 2 lines below the first paragraph. So creating a new paragraph is sort of like pressing enter twice on your keyboard. If I want my text to just go down on the next line, so the equivalent of pressing enter once on the keyboard, I would need to use the BR tag. Even if I press enter in Aditra to place the text down on the next line in the code, in the browser it will not show up this way, but instead will appear all on the same line. HTML is very specific, and you need to tell it everything that you want it to do. So in order for the text to show up on the next line in the browser also, I need to make sure I use this BR tag. The BR tag, which stands for broken rule, is one of the exceptions to the rule about having to have a closing tag also. Instead of typing an opening and a closing tag, wherever you want the end of your line, type in the opening caret, BR, a space, a slash, and then the closing caret. This is called a self-closing tag. There are a couple of useful tags that allow me to emphasize a word or a certain section of text. The first is the strong tag, and this makes text bold. So if I wanted to make a certain word be bold, I would put a strong tag in front of it, and then the closing strong tag after the word. All of the text that is between the opening and closing strong tags will be bold. Another way to emphasize text is with italics. The tag for this is EM, which stands for emphasis. So once again, I'll place the opening emphasis tag where I want the italics to begin, and a closing emphasis tag at the end of my italicized text. If I wanted text to be both bold and italicized, I would nest the tags so that whichever tag I open first, I close last. When I preview this in the browser, I can see the bold and italicized text that I've just created. The last tag that we will look at in this lesson is the heading tag. It's really useful because it will do a couple of things for us at once. It will make text bold, large, and put it in its own paragraph. This tag can be used both for the overall heading or title of your page and also for any subheadings further down the content of your page. So I'll go into my code, and in the body section I will put in the tag, which is H1. This is the largest of the headings. There is also H2, H3, H4, H5, and H6, which get progressively smaller and are to be used for subheadings. Now I'll type in some text and the closing H1 tag. Headings do not need to be in a paragraph of their own, since the H1 tag itself already takes care of this. Now I can save my page and view it in the browser, and I have the beginnings of a web page.